Hi guys, it's Luna and welcome back to another video. Today's video is gonna be a review rant of sorts, something like that. I'm gonna be angry. You see, for the last month, no, it's been a year. For the last year or so, I've been very stressed out. Whether it's just me being stressed out because of my body issues, whether it's me being stressed out because life sucks, whether it's me being stressed out for countless other reasons that make me want to jump off a cliff, I've been stressed. So I've taken back up to watching anime again. I've been rewatching some old shows here and there, and I was looking for different dubs and I found this show. It's called Onyx Equinox, I think. I'm trying really hard to say words today. It's not working very good for me. Anyways, the show was made by Crunchyroll. It was a Crunchyroll original, and I've seen it around. Maybe it was just on the commercials for the bootleg sites that I look at, or the ads rather, but I've seen it. And I almost found it very interesting because I could see there was some cultural aspect of it that was just different. It wasn't the same. It wasn't anything I've seen before, not in this depth anyways. It just seemed very nice. And Crunchyroll, you know, had that one disaster years ago, and I wanted to give them another chance. So it was an original show, and I think it's one of their first, or at least one that I've heard of. So I wanted to give it a shot, and I wanted to see if they could truly redeem themselves. Not really. This show is just really another example of good concept, bad execution, terrible, horrible execution. Now, you'll be hearing a synopsis of the show from a text-to-speech bot, because look at that. That's a name that's in the show, and there are more like it. If you think I can read that, you're out your mind. If you think I can say that, you're out of your cotton picking mind. I can't say that. I've tried several times today. It's not gonna come out of my mouth, not right. So you gonna hear from the speech bot. Here you go.
The Aztec god of the underworld, Mictlantecuhtli, has begun stealing blood sacrifices from the other gods, culminating in his Zapotec city being leveled. To these ends, Quetzalcoatl decides to close the gates to the underworld, but can't due to said gates being made of obsidian, which is toxic against the gods. So instead he makes a bet with Tezcatlipoca. He will find a human, the lowest of the low, and crown one his champion, so they will close the gates before the equinox, when Tezcatlipoca will kill off humanity. Tezcatlipoca agrees to the bet, but sends the god Yatl so Quetzalcoatl doesn't cheat. Quetzalcoatl chooses Izel, a servant who lost his sister to blood sacrifice.
So, with that synopsis out of the way, let me explain to you what the show's about, why I don't like it, and why it was such a good idea, but so bad. Plus, you should know there are spoilers ahead. I'm going to be pretty much telling you everything that I think is significant, so that could be like from literally telling you the entire show and how it's run, to me just bullshitting shit or telling you stuff that if you watch the first episode, you'll be mad that it's spoiled for you. Also, I should tell you that I'm also just going to be, poking fun at some stuff that just made me fucking die laughing. Literally, me and my boyfriend were watching it and he just like, this is a comedy, you know that, right? Because some of the stuff was just, ugh. Oh shit. Fuck, nope. What? But one of the problems I should very much point out, because the first episode, there's a problem with it, and I found out that they spoiled this for the people viewing it. Like, why would you do that? If you watched any of the commercial material or the advertising material for this show on Crunchyroll, or any of the platforms Crunchyroll has been posting it on, you would know the beginning of the show is actually a character's backstory. And they ruined that. Because I didn't watch the promotional material for the show. I just was like, I want to watch an anime. This looks cool. And if you watched it and you were hyped for it, a whole character that, let me remind you, that we don't see for probably more than 3 episodes after this. It was spoiled that that's a significant character. This girl. Because at the beginning of episode 1, about 10 minutes of it was literally watching as the city that she lived in was destroyed. The reason it was destroyed is because the overworld gods, I would say, and the underworld gods are beefing for blood. And I mean that literally, quite literally actually. They're literally beefing because they need more blood sacrifices, and the gods from the underworld are just like, why don't we just go up there and take it? And so they went up there. They had these weird monsters that start out as slime, absorb their victims, and form back into monsters, running around the city, encapsulating people inside of them to then go sacrifice to the underworld gods. And the overworld gods need blood to live. Like literally they'll starve if they do not have blood. So the sacrifices that the people have been given to them aren't enough. Literally they say it as if blood is wasted on battles and conflicts and not given to them. But that character's whole backstory was told in the first beginning of that episode. Is she seen after that? No, she may be seen maybe 4 or 5 episodes in. Do I care about her? No. Well, we had 10 minutes of her backstory, not giving a fuck about her character, and then not seeing it for a hella long time. Why I have so much of a problem with this? Because the other half of the episode was the main character's arc. And even that got fucked because they took up half the episode on a character we don't even know or care about yet. Literally, I didn't even know that she was a main character until I went and saw like the character reel thing, and I was like, oh, that's who she is? She's supposed to be like a character later? Why do I care about her? Why do I want to see her? Why wasn't I given the main characters and their story and shown the character development? Because I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, the lack of character development between these two siblings is astounding. I think they thought that, oh, they're siblings, so you guys are gonna care about them and all the sad moments are gonna matter. You know, we play like this weird little flashback. This should matter, right? That's literally not how character development works. You have to actually show their backstory so we, you know, give a fuck about them. And they did, granted, show their backstory, the main characters' backstory, like episode 3. But honestly, it was just to bring up a conflict, and that conflict literally ended in the same episode. It's not a good sign. When there's a major conflict like childhood issues or traumas, and that same conflict ends in the first 3 episodes in the same episode, there's a problem. Also, I kind of lost my train of thought there because I had to go find my blow dryer and my mom took it and I don't know where it is. So it is what it is. Anyways, what I was trying to say by all of that was that you have to make us care about our main characters. You tried to make us care about a character we didn't even know was a character yet. Like, we didn't even know that she was like a playing character yet, because literally all we saw is that she survived the tragedy and then ran off, and I don't even remember her name. By the way, all of these characters, I'm gonna put their names on the screen because I don't remember their names because I was laughing so hard I just didn't catch everything. So there's that, and there are several problems with the main story. For one thing, I did not know, because they did not explain very well, that the deal between the 2 gods, well, let me stop right there and say that there is a deal between 2 overworld gods, because there's a plane, I'll let it pass. Okay, because there's a deal between the 2 overworld gods that apparently they were betting mankind's survival on this random bet they didn't need to take. And apparently they can just make random bets with each other. I don't understand. And let me explain to you exactly why. There were 4 gods, 4 or 5 gods that were all conversating together, right? They all made an agreement not too long after this bet was made that they were going to seal up the gates to the underworld. But also they had made an agreement prior to that the Equinox was going to basically be the event where they wipe out humanity for like, what, the 4th time and rebuild it. All of them made that agreed upon thing except for one god that they knew that would probably oppose it, right? They made that agreement. Why then does one god get to now make a bet saying that might not happen if they lose? How does that work? Is this not an agreed upon thing, or is this just we can do whatever we want? At that point, why did you even make it a thing to even inform the other god about? Why are you accepting this deal? What benefit does it give you to accept a deal from someone you already don't trust? Because he made it very clear in that scene that he does not trust this guy at all. But you're making a bet with him? And not even just betting the human's freedom, your life. Because another part of the bet is that he gets all the blood sacrifices from the other one. Why are you betting your life with someone you do not trust? How does that work? Why is that sense to you? I don't understand. Like, you gain to lose a lot more than if you just didn't accept this. What sense does that make? Hell, even seeing how good you guys protect them, if you watch the first episode and watch as this one guy sacrifices himself to try to protect everybody else from the underworld gods coming. I don't think they know there was the underworld gods coming. I think they just knew that gods were coming because the sacrifices were getting kind of bare and it wasn't enough. This one guy sacrificed himself to have these other gods come help him. The damage they did towards the people they're trying to protect, it was like, why are you even here? Who are you protecting? You killed most of us. You're wrecking our houses. You're leaving us in a worse state than if we ran. Like, what is happening? I don't understand. Like, is it like actually, I kept wondering, like, are they here to help? Because they're not helping. Like, how are you here to help? Explain to me how this is helping them. And then those same gods, when they saw this creature that looks like that one creature from Adventure Time, but in anime form, literally looks like that one creature from Adventure Time, but in anime form. This underworld creature came to wreck ship. One of them was just like, alright, I'm out, and just left. It was the funniest thing. He just left. The other one got like grabbed from the front and reeled in and cracked like an egg as the fucking creature started drinking its essence. Like, that happened. And it's like, okay, so we pray to you and sacrifice you. Why? Y'all literally just lost. One of you ran and the other one got cracked open like an egg. You're here to protect us. How? It seems like we should be making sacrifices to the undergods at that point. Not to y'all. Y'all seem weak as fuck. Like, all the first episode established that you should actually care about and you're probably gonna actually care about is that the main character is a bitch. He's a kid, don't get me wrong, that went through a lot. His sister died. His whole thing is that his sister died to be a sacrifice to the gods. So the city that we saw that got, wrecked and the gods were shitty and all that, so that wouldn't happen to them, his sister was sacrificed. Which, to be fair, from what we understand, it didn't happen to them. So, but also on top of that, his sister went in his place because he was supposed to be sacrificed, but she asked to be sacrificed in his stead, which the guy that did the sacrificing told him. They literally, let me paint the scene. Guards and the guy come in the middle of the night to come get the sister, right? Boy isn't all the way to sleep. He's like, what's going on? The people are just like, let's go, pretty much, to the girl. He realizes, oh, you're gonna be sacrificed. They obviously push him back, like, you need to not, like, you can't do anything to stop this. She offered this. And I mean that, like, he directly told him, basically, it was supposed to be you that was killed, but it was her. She sacrificed her life for yours. Live with that. And walked away. Like, basically was just like, she's dead, and walked away. It's your fault. And then strolled out like that was normal, like that wasn't gonna traumatize the kid, like he should be grateful that she sacrificed her life for his, like that's not his sister. Like, what? I don't understand. It was so fucking stupid. By the way, the guy that was watching them or looking over them, which I definitely thought was their dad until I learned that they were servants, which I should have probably been aware of that way before I saw how nice and kind he treated them. So I could at least have some indication that, like, oh, they're servants. It's not like that's their dad or anything. But you find out later in the episode, so it's not that big of a deal. But that guy wasn't even a part of the sacrifice. So why he didn't go home and like be like, your sister's going away for a while, or lie to the kid or something so he wouldn't interrupt the whole thing, I don't understand. Like, he was willing to sacrifice the kid in the first place because he was the one who was like, I got 2 servants, I like the girl more. The boy, he can go. If you're gonna sacrifice my servants, then the boy can go. He could have at least been like, your sister's just going to go handle some things, I'm gonna stay with you tonight. Lie to him something. That would have been more dramatic. That would have been more dynamic. And then him finding out later what happened to his sister, or him going to watch the sacrifice in, excitement and seeing his sister. That would have been better. But this was just like boring. And honestly, I didn't like the way they cut her off as she was about to do her speech. Like, it's okay, I'm doing this over my free will. They kind of just interrupted her whole speech and then sliced her neck and then just had her dip into the ocean. It was a whole thing. I was like, at least let her finish her speech. Like, she's about to be sacrificed. At least let her finish her speech. Don't be a dick about it. Also, I should point this out. Before the girl got carried away, the boy got beat up because there were these people that came from the village that got wrecked in the beginning of the show. They came seeking refuge. People were shunning them. Never was explained why they were shunned, by the way. It was just, I don't know if it was bad luck. At that point, why are they in your village? You could just shun them out. Why are they allowed in your village? Is that like a thing? If you thought they were bad luck or that was something like that. It didn't really make sense of why they were shunning them, but they were shunning them and they were refusing to trade with them and shit like that. And it's like, alright, okay. It didn't really make sense, or it really wasn't explained, but I was like, okay, maybe it's just a thing I don't understand. I don't know. A lot of stuff I try to chalk up to this is just a cultural thing I don't get. But the boy helped them out and gave them some corn, or at least that's what that looked like. It looked like corn. And so the kids beat him up for it? Kids literally cornered him and beat him up for giving them corn. It didn't really make a lot of sense. It was never really explained. They also took his stuff, which I'm like, if they took your stuff, wouldn't they get in trouble for that? They just beat you up. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. No, it really wasn't explained of why they had to literally go out of their way to beat him up for giving the shunned people food. It's not like it's against the rules or something. It's not like it would bring tragedy upon their village, or that wasn't explained. It was literally just like, I'm beat you up because you gave them corn. It's like, what? It didn't really make a lot of sense. It was kind of like he didn't even need to be beat up at that point. It was mad weird. It didn't really make a lot of sense. And then for some reason he just like the kids, they said somebody was gonna be sacrificed. I hope it's not you. I'm like, so the kids are beating you up and they're like, by the way, there's a sacrificial ceremony happening tomorrow. Like, what? What are you talking about? That happened? Why would they do that? Explain that. That doesn't make any sense. There was so much stuff that just made no sense. Again, the character development was kind of watered down to just this, like, their siblings and this montage of happy things they were doing over sad music, and it was just like, I don't care about these characters still. Like, the girl died and I still didn't care. The boy killed himself or tried to kill himself and I still didn't care. Anyways, after she died, he fell into the water and he was sad, and for some reason he hit his head on a rock for whatever reason, like he was gonna swim out of there or something like that. I don't understand why he even did that or why that happened. But anyways, something that looked like it was gonna be tentacle porn came out of nowhere. I saw a tongue-looking substance come from the depth, and I was like, I know how this is going to end. But it didn't end like I thought it was gonna end. It looked like Legend of Korra for a second, like he was going into the Avatar state or some shit, and he got powers from the god or something. I don't exactly know what happened. I think what the implication was that was one of the gods, and they hit him to where he is now marked by them. So like, that's the person that's gonna be doing the deed they want him to do. I don't know what the point of all the rest of that was. But anyways, the panther thing came and saved them, and that was kind of the end of that episode. And if we go into the second episode can literally be summed up in wah. Like, it was literally just him whining and screaming and running and being annoying. And after at least 30 seconds of it, I was so annoyed. The first episode is bad, but it's not that bad. But the second one will make you not want to watch the rest of the show. Like, it was him whining. He had random acts of courage, but then was weak and scared. Like, he found this tiki idol looking thing that I guess was a dagger. I'm like, I don't never see a dagger like that, but whatever. But it actually turned into like a real looking dagger when he bled on it, and apparently, you know, against a monster with legs and teeth, he thought the dagger would protect him. Like the monster can't like grab him by its legs and just throw him across the room. But that's pretty much what happened. Like, he started running like a bitch. The fucking Panther was basically everybody watching, which is like, I'm sick of this shit. Like, shut up, stop crying, stop whining, and just accept your destiny. And I get that the kid had resistance because obviously he has no idea what's happening. He thought he was dead, but he wasn't dead. And you're asking him to do something that he doesn't want to do, and he didn't care, and he just wanted to die. And I get that, but like after a while, it was just whining after whining after whining after whining after whining after whining after whining. And obviously he ended up closing one of the gates at the end of it because, you know, his whining and running and shit somehow ended up doing it, and the Panther was trying to coach him through. It was really hard to care about this episode because the whining and like the character, just something about his voice just was like annoying the shit out of me. And you'll know what I'm fucking talking about. All the screaming and the whining, and it was just like, that's enough. That's enough. Hell, what bothered me more was the Panther acts like it can't intervene in helping him like fight off monsters and survive, but then it ends up next episode helping him survive by fighting off monsters. So at that point I'm like, why didn't you just help him fight the monster? I don't know what you saw this as the weakest of the weak in the sense of champion, so I don't get what, I don't know why you didn't help him, but whatever. He said he couldn't, but I guess, I don't know. Also, I have to point this out. In one of the scenes in this episode, this kid was being lured into the water, or at least closer to this monster looking thing that could shapeshift into his sister, and it was like a whole thing. First of all, it looked creepy. I'm like, you know for a fact it's not your sister. But after it shapeshift, was touching him with the hair and doing a bunch of other stuff, it literally leaped out and ran into the night, and he was really running after it like, sister, come back, sister, come back. I'm like, well, that's your sister? You thought your sister could move like that? You thought your sister, you thought that was legitimately your sister? Okay. What? Alright, whatever. We're gonna move off of episode 2 because that whole episode, I'm irritated. I'm very irritated. Before I move off of it, I'll just say one more thing. This is just the last thing. He, with no confirmation, accepted his fate because he asks the Panther guy, if I do this, will you bring my sister back? The Panther guy clearly told him, I can't do that. They probably won't do that. They probably would do nothing you say. They won't help you. We don't know, like, I can't confirm that with you at all. And he was like, I'll do it for my sister. Was it just me who heard the Panther guy be like, no, I can't do that. We can't confirm that. I can't, your sister's not coming back because of this? Maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm hearing things that I heard him blatantly say, I can't promise that to you. And the guy's just like, nope, I don't believe that. I know the gods will help me with no proof, even though they picked me for no reason. Yes, they'll help me. And it's like the Panther's just looking at him like, bro, I can't. Shut up. Just, whatever. You better be glad that my God told me that I gotta help your ass or I'd be gone. I don't like you.
Don't think we don't know what else you've done. The side deals to keep us safe, paying off the officials in the games, cheating, keeping us out of real competitions.
Dad. You have to understand. We've never touched this ball before. Probably have not gone within 5 feet of it throughout our entire lives. We just go to the temple sometimes and look at it and stare at it. We're obviously ready. We've never been in a real competition before. We could probably die from this, but you're overreacting. We're fine. It's not like if we go outside the city, something bad will happen, right? The guards are just there for no reason. Like, we'll be fine. We'll be alright, right? Ah! But going on to the 3rd episode, many more problems, but let me try to make it a bit quicker because this is getting pretty long and I don't want to edit all this. To summarize the 3rd episode, the Panthers try to teach the kid to be a bit more independent and fight for themselves, and he's basically like, I can't help you in every turn, so you need to be able to do this on your own. He pushes the boy into the village to find an artifact. the boy gets distracted from finding the artifact because he found his father that was shown in a flashback before he got to the village. He confronted his father. When I say confront, I mean that with air quotes of he basically told his dad, why didn't you help us? Why didn't you do this? Shut up! I don't want to hear what you have to say. Every time he tried to explain, it's not an excuse. Why are you even talking to me? I can't believe you're back in my life. Shut up! Get out of my face. I literally walked to his house and followed this man and is yelling at this man to then tell him, I don't want to talk to you. Why are you here? Like, at one point the dad asked, why are you fucking here then? And then he walked off. I'm like, I'm asking that question. Why the fuck were you there? If you weren't going to confront him and let him answer and take his answers for what they were, why were you here? And I get that that's supposed to be trying to be character development, but it ended up being super annoying. Do you know why? Because he never accepted anything. He never said anything after that. All he learned is that he had 2 sons and that now he's sad, and then he left, and that was it. You know, the 2 sons are the asshole of assholies, and they just suck. They made it apparent that you're not supposed to like these guys. They try to give them one moment of like, we're decent people, and then they're like, we're gonna make the most insufferable character you will ever meet in your life. I promise you, we're gonna make somebody so insufferable. And they're going to be twins, so they're going to be even more insufferable. And so the twins are basically, Dad, you can't tell me what to do. Also, the way they disrespected their parent was irritating. Literally, apparently they knew the dad was paying off people to make sure that they're protected, making sure the kids don't get into any harm at all by trying to make sure that they don't excel in their sport, which I forget the name of the sport. I'll put it on screen right now. But they play this game that apparently that was never explained. It's 3 episodes in though, so you know, I'll give it that. But the game was never explained of why going professional with playing it would be dangerous. It just kept saying like, oh, if you guys are playing a real game, you'd be dead by now. If you were doing this, you'd be dead. Like, it's a really intense thing, and you're not letting us come to our potential, Dad. That's pretty much the whole vibe the entire thing was giving me. I'm like, why is it dangerous? What's dangerous about it? We don't understand. We don't understand this culture and why this game would be dangerous. Even when they explained it or explained the backstory behind the artifact that they get next and behind why the boys feel so passionate about it still didn't make a fucking lick of sense to me personally, but maybe that's just me and I'm missing something here. Anyways, the 2 boys are like, you can't tell us what to do, Dad. We're gonna go out and do what we want and we're gonna leave you. Ha, fuck you, and then left. And they met up with the boy later because the boy couldn't just go do his task and leave. He had to go sulk a bit. And they were somewhat nice to him at that point. And so they all went to go get the artifact together. By the way, the whole reason he went into the city is to get an artifact, if I didn't mention that before. They went to go get the artifact and see, you know, what's happening with it. And something was said that made absolutely no sense. They got up to the place where the artifact is, and the boy was like, I thought there would be guards here. And the kids are like, why would there be guards? Again, maybe this is a cultural thing I don't understand, but this still makes no sense. You have something in a pedestal, in a temple, that was built solely for that, from what we can see. Considered an artifact, has a whole background around it, and why it's important, or why it was important at one point. You tell me you build a whole temple, or at least a whole structure, to surround something that has no importance whatsoever, that needs no guards to protect it. And their excuse was, well, who's gonna steal it? Why would it need to be in a thing? Why isn't it just in the town square if no one's going to steal it? If it has no importance? Why is it surrounded by brick or cinder block or whatever it is? Why? Why protect it? Why put it in a place and put it on a pedestal if it has no significance? Do people do that? Is that a thing? That's so dumb. If like that's a real life thing that people do, that makes no sense. It's like me putting my ring in the ring case and saying it has no significance to me. It's like putting my jewelry away and saying it has no significance to me. Like on like a little jewelry holder. Why would I be putting it on a holder if it has no significance? Sure, it may not be the most important thing in the world, but I'm protecting it because it costs a lot of money and I don't want to lose it. I don't want someone to steal it, or I don't want it to get ugly, or I want it to be on display because I'm proud of it. If someone took it, I'd be mad because it's in my room. Why would you take it? Even in day-to-day life, you do that shit. So why put something on a pedestal that you don't care about? By the way, these kids have been coming to this temple or this sanctuary, I don't know what the fuck it's called, but they've been coming to this for months. probably years, right? You've never touched it. Why? There's no significance to it. It's not important. No one cares about it apparently, but you've never touched it until now. Today is the day you thought we need to touch it. What? It doesn't make any sense. You've lived in this town your entire life, but you've never touched the artifact that is not surrounded by any guards or nothing? Okay, whatever you say. Ooh, I forgot about this. By the way, before, when he went into the city, he was being chased by monsters. As I said before, the Panther didn't kill all the monsters, and he was being chased by monsters and got chased into the city, right? The guards had weapons that were there to defeat the monsters, right? Even the monsters got scared and ran away. But why at the beginning of the show was the boy acting like he'd never seen these monsters in his life? I'm like, you're telling me guards know they're there, they're being protected, but my main character doesn't know that they exist. Like, he acted like he was genuinely surprised that outside of the town there were monsters. You know about the gods, but you don't know about the monsters. You were slaves, but you didn't know about the monsters, which means you traveled, but you don't know about the monsters. In the flashback, you were being chased by a monster. You remember your dad's face after years, but you forgot that outside the city there were monsters. Same goes for the two twin boys. You didn't know there were monsters outside? Did you think the guards were outside the city for what reason? You just didn't know? That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. But whatever. Logic, I guess. And again, the whole thing with their dad ended by the dad saying that he was sorry and the kid being like, no, let go, and then walking away. He didn't go after his other sons. He didn't, nothing. Literally, he saw that his sons were in some form of danger. That palace fell that they were looking at the useless ball in. That whole thing fell. Didn't even go after his sons. Has no idea where his sons are right now. The ones that he was supposed to protect, unlike the other ones. You know, the son and the daughter that he lost. Or rather sold. Let me not say lost. He sold. Didn't look for them after that. Didn't go find them. Didn't do nothing. Real father of the year. Yeah. Anyways, at the end of the third episode, basically the ball that the boys touched for the first time in forever in their lives now is attached to them. And now that artifact is with them the entire time. And I'm thinking that the tiki dagger thing is an artifact as well. And that's just now kind of connected to the boy as well, the main character. And they all kind of understood that they need to go find the others and close the gate to save humanity. Well, that's not true. The twin boys didn't want to do that, but there's a giant talking, glowing panther in front of them at all times that has the power from the gods. So, they're like, we understand it your way, talking panther. We're not going to, you could eat us. We're just gonna go with you guys. I love saving the world. And that was the end of the third episode. As you can see, I don't like this show. There's a lot of problems. It culturally is pretty, but the episodes and what was contained in the episodes was due to butt cheeks. Be 100% with you. And going outside of the contents of the episodes, the ending was a sketchbook tour. It was, look what's inside my sketchbook. And basically we saw art of the show, I guess. Not really, just more of the characters, no backgrounds, no nothing, just line work. That was the ending. Wasn't even a pretty pattern behind it. Wasn't said characters and gods made in like a hieroglyphic type style or something. No, we just saw line art from the show. Kind of don't like that. It seems unfinished. And let's get into also the animation and things like that. There are times where it looks like these people are floating. Like, I can't. Hopefully I got screenshots. I don't want to fucking look for these things again. But if you watch the show, which is free to watch, by the way. It's on YouTube. Free to watch by Crunchyroll. So there's no reason why you can't watch this. It's there. It's free. Like, literally, I watched it for free. I don't want to watch it again. But there's some times where it seems like the character is just sitting on top of everything. And they add like a little bit of shadow to really blend them in. It doesn't feel like the characters are made at the same time as everything else, if that makes sense. It seems like if I took a character model and just kind of put it in the background, and you know what I mean. There's a difference between when you draw the characters knowing that they're going to be standing or sitting or laying or whatever, and you make them so the perspective looks right. Sometimes it looks like they just were like, copy this, paste this into the background. Sometimes the background just is so contrasting with the art style that it looks like it just looks so photoshopped in. It's ridiculous. The animation sometimes is shot, like the beginning animation was really pretty. Even though I have a lot of problems with the beginning or the first episode, it flowed very beautifully. But then going to the second and third, sometimes it was just not where it needed to be. The whole show itself just seems somewhat unfinished. Like they were rushed to get it out. Even though I heard, and I might be really wrong about this, I heard that the creator worked very long on this, and let me say this. I think she worked very long on the parts she cared about, which are different than working very hard and long on the show itself. When you work very hard on the parts you cared about, which I could see, which is the cultural aspect of it, staying true to the models, how she wanted to look, all of that, like, it looks great, in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's the prettiest thing in the world, but I like it. I like the art style, I like the characters, how they look, how culturally I'm sure it's very accurate, but I feel like a lot of people tend to focus on this one aspect they really want to make sure they get right, and then neglect everything else. I feel like she neglected the animation a bit, she neglected the writing, she neglected the pacing, she neglected so much that it just becomes something that could be so great and spectacular. And on top of all of the stuff I'm talking about in the episodes that are great, you have that it's a gory anime that they show, like broken bones, and I don't even know if it's anime, but I say it's anime because it's on Crunchyroll. But they show like broken bones, they show guts, gore. It's not like super realistic, but it's nice. It's a nice change of pace. It's an interesting concept that I could see why someone would pick this up and be like, I love it, because it's great, I love it. But the execution of it was piss poor, was not even decent at, well, no, I'll give them decent at best. It was not good. I totally understand why I've never heard anybody talk about this, where I can barely see reviews on it, because there's not much to really review. It just seems like something that had the potential to be so great, and is just low-key like declining very quickly into something that's mediocre at best. The animation's going down. The common sense of the characters are going down. The character development is going down. The writing is going down. Everything went down from the first episode. And so, weirdly enough, I saw the third episode before I saw the first. And with that being said, when I saw the first episode compared to the third, I was like, that's a entirely different show. The first episode, with as many problems as it had, was something that I could see, if I watched that first, me immediately being positive about this experience. But seeing the third episode first and then seeing the first, I thought, oh, it's just declining very fast. At a rapid rate, actually. And it's very sad to see, honestly. I think this could be great, but it's just not. Anyways, I'm sorry this video was very long. It was just me rambling about this show that you probably never heard of. But in my opinion, you should go watch it and see it for yourself. And even if you don't like it, you'll get a good laugh out of how dumb some of the moments are. And the second episode, you might be annoyed by, but you might actually like it. I can see a lot of people actually liking it and seeing past the flaws, which is totally understandable. I just personally can't. It's just not in my bones. I have to complain, I'm sorry. Anyways, with that all being said, I see you guys later, okay? BB.